Hi there, my name is Dellanie Williams. I am 20 years old and I am currently enrolled at the University of Southern Mississippi. This is going to be my All About Me presentation for my personal development course. So, here we go. Every day we get to meet new people, make new bonds, make new connections. All of these things happen pretty much every day for every one of us, even if we do not realize it. If you're lucky enough, you can realize that there is a connection between you and another person, and you and this other person can become friends, maybe significant others, just depending on the situation. It was seventh grade year for me. I was 12 years old, and I didn't really have very many friends. Um, it was my English class. We had to do presentations about things that were going on in our lives around us at the time. Mine was just the typical schoolwork, homework, chores, having fun with the family, and going to school every day. Until one girl named Peyton Hall got up to do her presentation. Everyone turned their attention to her because she was very likable. Everyone liked her. She was very sweet, very caring, very generous person, and she looked very sad that day. So everybody wanted to pay attention. Her grandmother had been battling cancer and had passed away recently the time of the presentation, and my heart broke for her immediately. I felt so much empathy for her. I wanted to go up to her and give her a hug, even though I did not even really know her. That day at lunchtime, I sat beside her and introduced myself to her, and you could tell she didn't really want to talk at the moment. She was very upset still about the presentation, but she put a smile on and introduced herself to me, and from that moment on, we were friends. The relationship wasn't very a strong friendship up until about high school. Throughout middle school, we would chat on Facebook, text a little bit, and the occasional hanging out at each other's houses. However, when high school hit, is when me and her became very, very close. She would stay at my house for weekends, and I would stay at hers for weekends. Her family became my family, and my family became her family. It all came natural. Everywhere we went, people would ask us, "Are we sisters?" Because we look similar and we were always together. And the old saying goes, the more you hang out with someone, the more you look like them. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but we got asked almost every day, were we sisters? This is her. Well, once we both got our vehicles, it was all on from then. We were going to the mall, going to the theater, going shopping, going to get our nails and hairs done. Anything and everything, we were doing it just to get away from the everyday high school crap. We just wanted to break, we wanted to hang out, we wanted to have a good time. After graduation, we kind of, I wouldn't say we drifted, but we didn't talk as much because we both were busy doing college applications, also trying to get accepted into colleges and just get ready for the college experience, which I don't think she nor I was completely ready for when we started. The ending around 2015, our friendship hit kind of rock bottom. We had a falling out and we did not speak for a few months. We just stopped talking completely, had nothing to do with one another, didn't wish each other a happy birthday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, anything. We dropped it all. This was very upsetting to me because we had been so close for so many years. I mean, we know everything about one another. We have always known everything about one another. Our deepest, darkest secrets, the other one knows. However, May of 2015, we were able to run into one another and pick up where we left off. Surprisingly, I don't understand how we were able just to be okay automatically, but we were. We've always had a very strong mutual bond with one another. We're very connected in many ways. We've both been through a lot of the same things, so we just automatically connect with each other. We stick to one another and always will probably. In 2013, I meet this guy named Todd. At the time, I thought he was the best thing about me, but in terms, he was not. He was in my opinion, my saving grace because I was able to do more. I was able to stay at his house, things like that. But in reality, it was not anything good at all. It became a very toxic relationship and it ended after 3.5 years. It was very hard for me because I was in and out of my friendship with Peyton from the deterioration of that relationship. All happened when I was meeting Todd. He was around me and Peyton all the time. He understood how we worked. He understood how to help one of us when we were having issues with one another, and he helped us stay close while he and I were together. And she would do the same for me and him. When we were having troubles, I would go to her and she would explain to me how to just calm down and to realize he doesn't mean to be the way he is. It's just his problem because he struggled with addiction with various drugs. I wanted to help him. I wanted him to become a better person. I wanted to see him succeed in life. And all while doing that, I was losing myself. I was starting to do drugs. I didn't care. I wanted to be with him. I wanted anything and everything to do with him. And that was my biggest downfall, was letting him come in and just sweep me off my feet and me thinking everything's going to be okay. When, and 3.5 years later, it became a very toxic, violent relationship that I had to get out of. Peyton was there for me through the downfall and helped me through it all because it was a very hard low blow for me. Another person who was there for me was my beautiful mother. She and I have always had a very close, connected, respectful relationship with one another. However, I did struggle with the openness and closeness of the relationship because there were times where I didn't want my mother to know what I was doing. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to be grown at the age of 16 and 17, which no one will ever be grown at the age of 16 and 17. I was, of course, involved with Todd at the time, and I was doing drugs, and I didn't think she knew. And one night she informed me that she did know, and how she was disappointed in me, and that she hoped that I would make the right decision. Hearing the words, "I'm disappointed in you," will always hurt anyone's feelings. Just for the simple fact is, you disappointed someone that you love so much, and feeling that weight that they felt is just, it comes down on you at once. So when she informed me that she did know, I immediately just broke down and confided in her and told her everything that I had been doing, and I just, I opened up completely. And for the next couple of days, it was kind of a quiet mood around the house because she didn't know how to take it, me, and explaining to her all of the things that I was involved in. And I understand she was mad, but at the end of the day, she still loved me and I still loved her. However, my mom and I, we did grow from me opening up to her and explaining to her what I was going through, because she looked at me more as of an adult for coming to her and explaining to her what I was doing. Around this time, my mom and I, we just clicked more than ever before. We were talking about things we wouldn't normally talk about. We were confiding in one another. We were explaining our secrets, our drama, everything. We were just very connected at all of a sudden. She informed me that she had always known that I was up to something, but she was hoping that I would come to her and tell her about it. No kid wants to tell their parents, "Hey, I'm doing drugs." So it was very hard to talk about it. But luckily, she did handle the situation very well, and I am very lucky that she was so understanding, because she could have been like any other type of parent and just ground me and not want to talk about it and want nothing to do with me. She was there also for the growth and the deterioration of Peyton and I's relationship over the years, because there were numerous times where me and her would not be friends for a couple days and then pick back up. However, when Peyton and I were not friends for 5 months, I believe, my mom was there every day, hanging out with me, keeping my mind off of it, and just being there for me in ways that I didn't understand at the time. I thought she just wanted to spend time with me, and when in reality, she wanted to spend time with me, and she also didn't want me to worry about what Peyton was doing, how she was doing, any of those things. She wanted to keep me happy instead of upset because I do struggle with depression, and she understands that if I harp on a subject for too long, it'll just ruin my moods. And luckily, with that openness and closeness with my mother, we just she could always tell when I'm upset, and I would have no problem telling her why I was upset or what was bothering me that day. It just came naturally. She and I have always also had a very strong respect and consideration for one another. We can pretty much always tell if something we're going to do is going to affect the other one. It's something that we've always been able to do, even from when I was younger. Um, I've always respected my mother, but there were times that I did not. I was 15 years old, and I told my mother I hated her because she took my phone from me, and I had some type of boyfriend at the time who I thought I was in love with and just could not live without. And she took my phone, so I told her I hated her. And of course, I didn't mean it. I was just really mad, and hormones were flooding through me. But she was understanding the next day and told me she knew I didn't mean it. I apologized to her and explained that I really didn't mean it, that I loved her to death, and it was just something I said. I didn't mean it. And there were times that I would go back on her word. I would back talk her. I would argue with her. All of these things I did while I was growing up. There was very much so a lack of respect from my part because I wanted to be independent. I wanted to do what I wanted. But now that I look back, I am very glad that she intervened when she did and how she punished me, because I feel as if I wasn't punished the way I was, I probably would be way off worse than what I am now. And luckily now there is a very strong mutual respect for one another, and as well as the strong mutual connection of closeness between us. So I couldn't be happier with how my relationship with my mother has turned out. This is Austin and I. Austin and I have known each other for 9 years now. And in the beginning, we were just friends. We didn't know what a relationship was at the time. We were both very young. But somehow fate has brought us back to one another in the year of 2017. We have been together now for 5 months, and it's going great. Everything is as it should be. We are very committed to one another, very passionate with one another, not in intimacy types of ways, just very passionate about being with one another, showing each other that we care, being open with one another, and showing the other that I will be your shoulder to cry on has always been very important to me, because I've struggled with it in past relationships where the other just doesn't want to know about my day and doesn't want to know how I feel, things like that. So it was a blessing in disguise for Austin to come back into my life like he did, because it was the last thing I expected. I hadn't seen him since 2013, and I just magically ran into him in 2017, and it went from there. However, in about a month, Austin and I are going to deal with the labors of long distance relationships, which I'm sure we both can manage to handle because we both are grown now. We understand how to work a relationship. We know how to make a relationship work. We understand the struggles that come with relationships and the downfalls, and that the fact that relationships can fall and crumble in front of you, but it takes two to pick it back up and to make it into something great. So I'm not very worried about the long distance relationship, and he isn't either. The only one thing that we are worried about is the openness and closeness, because when he does get a little upset, he kind of wants to close off. He doesn't want to talk about what's making him angry. He wants to be left alone, which I'm a psychology major. I want to help. I want to make him feel better. I want him to just be relaxed when he's near me. I want him to be happy. I want him to be overjoyed. I don't want to see him upset and or crying, and for that matter. So I'm a very open person, so I try to get him to be as open with me as he can, which he is doing really well with doing, and so now, and he's getting used to being more open. He confides in me more than he does his parents. He looks at me as this all-time trust, that he can tell me anything and he can trust me to know that it's not going to go anywhere, which it's not. Everything that he tells me will always be my secret with him. It'll never go anywhere else. Peyton, even though she and I are friends now as well, she will never know what he and I talk about, and that's just a mutual respect for him. Relationships, any type of relationship, family, significant other, friendships, they all need three major things to survive one another. And that would be trust, respect, and openness. If you can't trust your partner, your friend, your mom, there is no relationship. If you cannot confide in your partner, your best friend, your aunt, your uncle, there is nothing there. You've blocked yourself off from that person to where you can't have a relationship with them. As long as you have trust, respect, and openness, and of course, love for one another, relationships will work out if they're supposed to be. If relationships are not supposed to work out, then they won't. If they are, they will. You just have to lean back and do what you can and realize that not everything is in your hands. If God doesn't want you with someone, He's not going to let you be a part of their lives. Big three things that you can always do, though, is to show people that you're trustworthy, that you're respectful, and that you can confide in them and they can confide in you. And overall, just be a loving person like I am. I am a very loving person, very open. I can confide in anybody, they can confide in me, and I'm very trustworthy and respectable. I wasn't in my past, but I have grown and watched as my old self deteriorated in front of me and grown into this new person, and I couldn't be happier. But thank you for your time. Again, my name is Dellanie Williams, and I am signing off.